welcome everybody back to episode of Tech Packs Are Due, Footwear Design Podcast, where we focus on teaching people how to be a footwear designer. I'm a footwear designer in the industry. My name is Jake. I'm glad you could join me for this special episode of Sketch Session. Before I get going, just want to shout out everybody. We are now beyond the 400 subscriber mark. Can't thank you enough for liking this content enough to subscribe and to make this a channel that you follow. We appreciate that. And we are on the road now to 500. My goal by the end of the year is 1,000. So tell your people, if you are in school and you are designing shoes and you're trying to get in the industry, let us be your guide to get into the industry. And yeah, let us help you. And as always, the views expressed in this podcast are my own views and not the views of my employer, past, present, or future. This is just good old-fashioned shoe talk. Also, we are going to be starting a new series where we have at least one guy who's interested in being our little apprentice, to see if we can live and you can track and follow, watch this guy up level his design skills and, work with that. And we're gonna meet him here in a couple episodes pretty soon. And then we will bring him in. We'll call him the apprentice and we'll see what happens. We'll see if I can actually take my skills and use them to help somebody get into the industry. I already worked with Colin, but I wasn't as hands-on with Colin. But that's kind of the premise of the show is, can we teach this skill? And can we, with real talk, real tutorials, real action, make this happen? Okay. So also, if you're here for the first time, like and subscribe to the page. Again, we're trying to get to 1,000, and then we can really hopefully take this show up a level. Get some notice, get some people, maybe get some sponsors, and then we can get this looking great. Okay, today is going to be an extra special episode of Sketch Session. I am going to lay the groundwork, the basics of what Footwear Illustrator looks like. Okay. And in footwear design, Illustrator is the foundational tool. It's one thing to pick up a pen, sketch. It's one thing to pick up an iPad and sketch, or whatever your means is of visualizing product. But in footwear, everything comes down to Illustrator and knowing the tools and how to use it. And so with that said, today we're going to do very foundational Illustrator for footwear design. This is the first tutorial where I think it's going to be super beneficial to those of you out there who don't have much experience with Illustrator, or you're new to it because you're in school. At least I was somewhat new to it coming into footwear as well. It is expansive as the way you can do with Adobe Illustrator. You can fully illustrate your shoes in Adobe. You can, some people render in Photoshop, but I've met designers who do it in Illustrator as well. And it is incredible. It's kind of limitless, and you can tweak and move the tools. The cool thing about Illustrator, and maybe because this is the basics, this is the foundation of the foundational tool, or whatever, the foundations tutorial. I'll just let everybody know that we know the difference between pixel-based and vector-based products. When you do Photoshop, it's literally pixels that you are changing with your airbrushes and your different things, and how you can collage images together to make stuff on Photoshop. Whereas in Illustrator, it's vector-based. So when you make a graphic, it can be scaled as big as you want, as small as you want. It is very versatile in that space. And so and when they say Illustrator, I mean, a lot of illustrators use, um, that's redundant, but a lot of illustrators use Illustrator um, for books, for print, for all kinds of things where the scaling and all the things that Illustrator is really good at doing um, can be used across different media. Um, Whereas sometimes with Photoshop, you're in a pixel based, your raster is what it's called. Um, you are confined to the pixels that you have, and if you make them bigger, they get blurrier. It's pictures, so you can reduce, and it makes the pixels smaller, and it can get finer. But if you're kind of like locked into the resolution of the image that you have, whereas Illustrator, you are not. So Illustrator is used for a ton of things in footwear, line art, blueprints, all those things. And you've got to be pretty proficient at Illustrator to be a footwear designer. And you build on those skills over time. But, it's always good to, you got to start somewhere. So that's what this is going to be. We are going to, I'm going to very rudimentary level create line art out of Air Max 1, and it's going to be a good time. So let's get after it. Again, like and subscribe to the page if you like what you see. I'm gonna make this place all about footwear and teaching the fundamental skills of footwear. When I got into the industry, no one taught me anything. So I had to learn it on the job. Without further ado, let's get after it. So here is my Air Max 1. Looking pretty good. I'm laying it out on 11 by 17 because this, generally speaking, can hold a size 9 shoe, which is the standard size in footwear. Size 9 shoes are the standard that people use for men's sizing. 8.5 is generally the women's sizing for samples. So I like to use, I don't think I have it up to exactly the proportions of a size 9. For this purposes, it's not going to super matter. But generally speaking, when I lay out line art for a render or for something I want to work with, I usually do it in scale. And what I mean by that is size 9. And so if I'm bringing a tooling or if I'm doing something, I like to keep it in scale, build on what we have. But for this, it's really about we're just going to learn how to use the basic tool. So I've got this on a layer. Layers are kind of the instrument that we all. It's kind of one of those things. So you can lock a layer. So I put the shoe on the first layer. I'm going to lock it. And then for fun today, I'm going to use a little white blocker window, drop it down to about 85%, and that will help us still see the shoe, but that'll help us still see the shoe, but we will be able to draw over it and make a nice, pretty, crisp looking, nice line art. Okay. So on my third layer, what I like to do and how I'm going to start is I take we're going to do this all in black. I like to lay a ground line, and that's also going to turn into our shadow line. That kind of just keeps us grounded and where we're going to start, how we're going to build above. And then I like to start with the midsole, and that generally means we're going to come up here. Don't worry about these radiuses quite yet. I'm going to just kind of lay out what we're doing here. Ooh, maybe put one right here. Sorry. And so everyone knows, in footwear, for me, and I'm going to talk about all the things I just did. In footwear for me, it's all about um, how few points you can use. So I was just using the pen tool. You hit P, and you get the pen tool. When I select this and I hit P, you can see the points that I'm using to build this kind of skeleton of the midsole. And in footwear design, you want to use as few points as possible. It keeps things from getting a little messy. And as I'm going, I'll just try to think of like little tips and tricks that I've used in the past. But we want to use like as few as possible. And then you'll have to kind of like, size things as you go to the tooling. Especially if this is how I would do it if this is how I do it if this was a sketch, I should say. This is like I just sketched the Air Max 1, which is not. It's kind of funny to even think about. But what we'll do here is we'll kind of get this all looking snug to the tool. And I guess technically, yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty okay. We want to try to get it nice and snug. As I'm going, I'll just kind of talk about a couple things. I brought this point here because I only want one point to tie in the toe spring. And so I have one point at the tip and one point where the midsole, basically the outsole meets the ground. And why that is important is because it's like, that's how the shoe is built, right? There's literally a line here that is the toe spring of the shoe. And let's build this out even more. So as I'm looking at this, the midsole has some curvature, right? It's not exactly a straight line from each plane of the top line. And so I see this curve too. And sometimes I can just add a point and just kind of pull it and give it a radius, or not give it a radius, give it, oh man. Well, yeah, just to kind of give radius and give flow to the top line of the tooling. Before I get too far ahead, and now that I'm thinking about this, when you do a point, if I hold shift, it'll give me a straight line. And if I move it around here, it moves out of 45, 90, gives you all of those. You're in the negatives, you're in 180 degrees, 90, 45, 135. If I hold shift and hit click, I get a straight line. And then that takes me to the next line and the next line, next line. If I click, hit shift, and then drag, I get a line with, I get a dot with these little wings that kind of come out. And that is how you make curved lines. If you don't know that, here you go. And generally speaking, you can move on the tangent, and that's what these lines are showing you. And Illustrator's gotten good at this point where you can see, your next line before you put it down. And then if I click and drag again, click and hold and drag, I get another, and I can see the line I'm building. You can get very like spline and S-bend, and, you can control like a little radius here. And that's all good. So if I click and I have my first point, and then I hold shift, and then I click again, and I hold shift, or I don't have to hold shift. I can now just kind of click wherever. And then I hit escape to cancel. I click this one with the direct select, hit A and direct select. I get a little radius thing that shows up. If I pull this, I can get radiuses. I can get 2 points with those same, these little drag bar things that you can then drag and create radiuses. But if you don't touch any of that, you get a perfect radius created, and you can, spec your radius. If you double click here, you can say, oh, I want, 1/4 of an inch radius. And you can hit enter and it'll just make that radius for you. It's a thing that Illustrator's put in, super helpful. So there's some just kind of like line basics. So I'm going to start using some of that. And you'll notice like up here, I didn't put a radius yet because I was planning on just clicking and dragging and then kind of eyeballing like where it kind of sits on the tooling there. And then doing the same here, just kind of eyeballing where I think that's kind of is. For these little like concept renders, you don't need to necessarily get like 100% of what is there. You're just trying to get close enough. I don't know if I need this point. And I'll explain why. I can get that same, if you hold, if you click Shift and C, you get this caret key. If you click this and you drag out, you'll appear those same radius lines. If I use this caret key, I can delete those caret lines or those anchor lines. And then I'm pretty sure I can get, if I just drag and hold and work with these, I can get the radius I want. Pretty nice. Okay, so for an Air Max 1, I think that's looking pretty good. I don't know if I really like this tip thing out here that I got going on, but for our purposes, I think it will be good enough. Yeesh. I don't know. Not my favorite to end like that, but we will move on. And then it's easy to do things like a bubble. You can take a rectangle, and get it sized however you want it. And you get rectangle by doing M. Ooh. You hit M and you drag. And then you can do L, which is circles. And you can then do Shift and hold and get the same thing. I like to move these shapes. And if you hold Option and you can duplicate, select them both, come over here to the Pathfinder, click that. It's a Unite tool, and that becomes one. I don't really think about all the tool names when I'm making this, but now that I'm trying to teach it, it matters a little bit. So if I take direct select and I see that this bubble isn't really, the air bubble is not really lining up, if I direct select and get all 3 of these points, hold shift and drag, I can, or not hold shift, but then drag and hold shift, I can get it kind of where I want it to go. Great. Next thing I want to do is these little lines in the tool. So if I get these little details, I come in here and I kind of get what I want. It's good. Actually, I like the size of this one, so I will just kind of grab it. And, it's going to be not perfect, and we'll be all right with that. But here we go. Another way to create these rounded lines is you can come in here, direct select with A, both of these, pull. direct select both these, pull it, direct select, pull, direct select, zoom in a little bit, and pull. And that helps us with that. Let's line these up. You'll also know, since this is all a nice full line now, you'll also notice that these are indents and they kind of sit inside. So sometimes what I like to do is I come in here and I will take M and make a little square. It comes in about as much as it looks like it comes in on the actual tool. And option click and duplicate. I'll come in here. And then with the Pathfinder, I'll come in and hit minus. And that will give us a little, that'll give us a cutout. So pretty nice, pretty quick, pretty painless. We've got our Air Max midsole. A couple things I would not be doing, and in real life, I think I would come down here, or actually illustrating this, I think I would bring these down. It's not on the actual thing, but if you want it to be clean, I come in, I want it to be a straight line here. Bring this out. And so we know, like, a lot of footwear is when you make something, the method of make sometimes, disfigures or like changes things. So like the product is never going to be 100% flat like this illustration is right now. But, you might go in illustrating the best possible outcome. And then, when you put EVA or PU or whatever it is, the shape is going to deform as it's manufactured and processed, and glue and rubber is slapped on. It's always going to do things. So when you're seeing that on this underlay, you're seeing like these little things. It could be the picture. It could be, it could be manufacturing. It could be all sorts of stuff that's making this look different and not 100% correct like an illustration would be. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the upper, and I'm going to start with the full upper, line art, and then we'll do the pieces. The reason I'm doing that is because if you have the full shoe, it makes it a little easier to make pieces out of something that's whole and complete. Now I'm going to go here and I'm going to start to use different things to try to click and hold to make the radius. And click and hold to make the radius and catch the collar shape. And then come up here to the next one, click and hold, collar shape, click and hold. And then I know the Air Max kind of wobbles a little bit, so we're going to give it a little bit of a wobble. Each one, I'm just coming to the next radius and wobbling a little bit. Wobbling a little bit. And you'll practice and you'll get into a little rhythm of how you do your line arts. I think I've never met anyone who does it the same. And yeah, we'll take it all the way to the edge here. And I'm going to do my best to end right here on this edge, and maybe bring it in a little ways. Now, why this is going to matter is I'm going to connect these. It's going to look a little weird for a second. I'm going to connect this and make it a clean shape. The finished whole complete shape. You never want to leave things broken. It's just makes life harder on you. Clean shapes, clean lines. Again, saw on the last reel. That is the name of the game in footwear. Clean lines, clean shapes, clean forms. All right. I'm trying to move kind of warp speed a little bit, but you can take your time, do what you need to do. Do a different shoe if you want. Don't have to do an Air Max. I'm just kind of going through and massaging these lines a little bit. Chose the Air Max. I thought it was like one of the probably most successful shoes of all time, right? And it's pretty simple to illustrate. Maybe not perfectly, but pretty simple. Pretty clean lines, not too intense. Perfect. We get something here. I'm trying to fix all the wobble, trying to make it at least usable. Sometimes I get really in here close, try to move things piece by piece. Perfect. All right. Oof. I don't know. That might be how can't really tell if that's how the IRO is. But maybe there's another bump here, actually. And I'm going to bring this one down. It's not quite looking 100% how I want it to look, so we're going to do some adjusting. There we go. At least I don't know any IRO that does that much stuff, that much bouncing around. I have wondered at times, like what the work looked like for this shoe, because it was before Adobe, that's for sure. Talked to a graphic designer who was taught before there was computers, and he said he used to just have some guys over at Adidas he would call up and just be like, hey, do my CAD work for these for his concepts. Okay, so I highly doubt that's what this IRO actually looks like, but I'm trying to stay true to the underlay, but we will see. Not going to take too much more time. But it could look like that. A little raw over here. But we're okay with that. All right, so let's say that's good enough. And for these purposes, I will add a fill to the outsole. And we will take this whole thing and bring it to the top. Command Shift and bring everything up to the top. Top surface. Oh, to the top. Okay, so we got a nice, like, kind of rough line art here of the outline of the shoe, what it's going to be like. So to get the collar, you're going to go up here to Path, Offset. Offset's like kind of one of those things that we all use all the time. And just kind of configure it to what you think the collar shape is going to be, maybe 3 millimeter. Check it out. Maybe, 2 mm if you want to sleek it out a little bit. But I'm going to do 3. Keep it looking padded. And then with the C tool, cut tool, I'm just going to cut off the part that I need, form a collar, and just delete the rest. Then we come in with the pen tool, P, come in, Something like that. Bada bing, bada boom. And then come in with the pen tool, hit it, just take it to this line. Okay. Easy peasy. And then you're going to notice we have all this paneling that we need to take care of. And we'll just start modeling that out. And I'll take this off the edge and kind of use it sketchy like. Again, this panel's looking, like it's going all over the place, but that's manufacturing. In an illustration, I would not be in a like a footwear CAD type of a thing. You're showing like the ideal. And so I would be taking out some of that wobble. Perfect. Again, I only use my points when I hit a radius. So I'm traveling. I see I hit this one, the outermost points of this radius. Continue. Again, I'm kind of hitting the outermost points of this radius, building that off there. Then we can take it to the edge. Usually I would just end this straight out, but because we're trying to be kind of true, I'll wrap it a little bit. True to the image, at least wrap it a little bit here. Because it is in reality wrapping a little bit. If you think about that panel going over the top, then take time to kind of just snug everything up. Pen tool is your friend. You'll get used to it when you're in footwear design. Just kind of squaring up some of this, helping it out. Keep it as clean as possible. It needs to, don't have any, things that go under, and you'll see these lines that are, bowed and stuff. We'll do that. Everything needs to be 100% clean so that people think you know what you're doing. And, try to keep these radiuses nice and tight. Keep it looking good. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that for right now. Next, we want to maybe just do this other heel panel. I'm going to start off the panel. You'll see why really soon. And then we'll come over here, and then we're starting to pick up a radius. So I'm going to come big, swing wide, and then another swing, and then down. We're going to go ahead and leave it like that. Fix it up a little tiny bit, but not too much. Smooth. Ooh, see, even that line, you can tell it's not quite right. A nice rounded edge. Then we can do these next panels. And believe it or not, we are getting really close to being done. Who knows where this panel swings, but let's just say it swings all the way up to the eye row, because that's kind of where it's going. And then this one, we're going to want to take it here. Yeah, here. Roll it around. That's fine. Perfect. Let's check it out. See if it's nice. You can already tell this one's not. And so we got to even it out. We got to make it looking really good. Really nice. So if things aren't looking quite right, it's not trailing where it technically should be trailing to. Let's go ahead and move those points around. Take as much time as you need to get it right and right. We're not messing around here. Okay, and then we can swing up on this one as well. Pen tool is great. Okay. perfect. Almost. This over here a little bit. Bring it down. Okay, and then let's take this one, this panel. Okay. Now, we're almost there. And this panel too. Grab it. Perfect. And for this guy, I think I want to just make 2 circles. The L tool, hold shift, makes a perfect circle. Hold option, get it too. And then we might be able to do this, get it really nice. If not, yeah, let's just do it like this. Take the pen tool, come right off of there, bisect it onto that one. Bisect, just attach it. It's not going to be perfect on this one. I'm not going to take the time to really nail it down on what we should actually do here. But you know, you get close to the tangent of the circle, and you try your best to like just kind of put it where it's supposed to be. It's not letting me. There we go. There we go. And then what you can do is you can go in here and you can connect. We're going to come in here, select all that. Oof. Actually, we'll just a little bit more. Okay, and then you select all that. You can do the Unite tool, and then you got basically the shape you need. It's a little haggard, but it probably gets the job done in this scenario. Got 1 extra point, maybe 2 extra points. Yeah. Not bad. But you get in here and you see where things are supposed to move, and then you get it done. Got an extra point. Rid of it. And those extra points, you just hit P, you see the minus sign, and you just get rid of them. Another one here. There you go. And we got this little thing. M will make like a little, you know, you could also just take the pen tool and click these corners. And then it's not going to be perfect. But what I would do is take M, make a rectangle into about the size, and then come over here and rotate, get it to the same thing, and then just pull it over. Yep. Great. I always thought that thing was kind of weird anyway, but you know. The next thing we'll do is create the tongue. And I'll just do that by doing a lot of the same stuff. Then we're going to come over here. And then I'm just going to take this and take it here, let's say. And now what happens under doesn't necessarily matter. A lot of footwear designers will just kind of make a shape similar to the tongue. And then just kind of let it, it's going to sit under all of the line art. All right. So we got all of our little pieces except for, and do a little offset. Let's do 4 mm for this. I cut it. I cut it. And maybe right here. Get rid of the rest. And then we're going to make that the finishing edge of the tongue. Okay. Not too shabby. Not amazing, but not too bad either. Okay, so now this will start to make some sense. I guess I didn't do the swoosh. Let's get it. Swoosh might be the hardest thing on this shoe. It's just got a lot of curves. So how to necessarily build it isn't always one-to-one. All right. You know, if you're still here, who do you got? Who do you got winning the NCAA tournament when the time comes? Never can tell. All right, so now the part that takes us to the end here. We will get to the laces, but we'll get to this. So with this big shape, I can take this and I can pull this over. And all of these overlap. Now this is kind of it feels messy, but it makes sense. I have this line going through here. I can hit Shift M, and that makes a shape builder tool. With shape builder, I can now start to take the line art that I have made, and with Option and click, I can get rid of stuff I want or don't want. And with just clicking inside this, showing me that I can make this shape, I can hit the plus, and it's now its own shape. Why that's important is now I can come in and I can slide this in here, and I have shapes that are building this shoe that are colorable. For example, the red. Now if I set this behind there, I start to have usable lines. So if I take these and I got this panel and that panel, again, I bring this over, holding Option and Shift. I can come in here, hit Shift M, I have my panel. Hold Option, drag through, get all these little scraps. This might come as a surprise to people that this is something that is in Illustrator, but it is here and it is incredible. You can quickly build all these panels and bring them back around, and now they are colorable, they are usable. Paneling is one of my favorite things that has been created, and a lot of times you can take these and you can make all the panels at once if you want to. I need to bring this down. So now I have this. I can probably make all the panels I need to. Shift N. I got this panel, and then I need to make this panel. Then the rest of this can all just, well, actually, I kind of want to make that one big panel. We can just get rid of the rest of this. All of this can kind of go. And then you have your panels that you need to make colorable line art for your shoe. As if I created the Air Max myself. Let's bring all this back over. And get it really nice and snug. Let's make sure we get it right on the line. And then we can color everything. So if I hit white and I drop it back, I hit gray, and one of these, and drop it back a little bit. Okay, that hits red, or that red, and I drop it back. Suddenly we have all the panels we need for this shoe. Perfect. And then this one here, let me drop it back. And you'll just figure out which ones need to come forward, which ones need to go backward. Tongue obviously needs to drop all the way back. And then we can take what we have here, and we can continue to make the collar lining. If I just drag this to break the line here and drag this to break the line there, maybe make it a little more rounded. I can make the collar. I just hit Shift M, hold Option, delete, Shift M, then delete. I can have a collar. Just get rid of the things left behind. You've built the shape, and now you have, again, a colorable collar. Exciting. It's not quite snug, but I should get it. Nice. Now we can color that. Looking good. Now from here, you're going to want to make a panel out of this, of course. You're going to come in here, Shift M, grab that, delete the rest. Got your other panel. This is not going to be the first or the last Illustrator thing I'm going to do. Believe that. For holes like this, I like to take the line weight down. Give this a little something. Perfect. Let's. Okay, very basic, very simple line art for your shoe. Again, I would advise everyone to just practice. Practice, get it right, get it how you want it. It's not going to be the same ever. It's always going to be a little different. There'll always be times where you can go back and you're going to go back and you're going to be like, well, I could have done it like this, could have done it like that. All good. This is basically just setting it up so you can do a lot of other things. This is not getting into, texturing. We haven't, not in that zone right now, but that will be coming up. And then I'm going to add the outsole, and then we'll talk about the laces. Kind of the last thing I like to do is the lace. because it's a little annoying sometimes. 5 mm maybe. What are we thinking? Bang. And you're going to come in here, you're going to cut. Come in here and you're going to cut. And we're going to get rid of the rest. Now, I am not going to bother with making a perfect outsole here. That would look nice, but for the purposes of this rendering not going on forever and ever, of this training, this tutorial video going on forever and ever, for this shoe, I am not going to do that. We will get to that. I mean, we will do outsoles, we'll do all kinds of stuff. But on this one, we're gonna call it here once we get the line art kind of squared away, and then I'm going to show you some things to kind of dress up the aesthetic a little bit. Because we want to dress up the aesthetic, you know? Footwear design. Okay, so let's drop that to the back. That looks pretty decent. Maybe I would try to match this curvature a little bit better. But for our purposes, again, this is not trying to be best thing ever. That's why I don't like this coming to a point. You can see some of the artifacting of this. It's not my favorite. I think the one way you can get rid of this is just dropping back the line weight and just letting it go. Okay, I like that. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to do a little shift M again. And we're going to make that its own thing and delete the rest of it. Just get rid of all of it. Whatever's left. We're going to move it and see it's looking good. Okay. Now we're looking nice. Got every piece in there. And for this purpose, let's just make this black, maybe a dark gray or something. If I don't like that. Doesn't look right color-wise. Whatever. And then for fun, you see this little thing up here. It says uniform. It's uniform line. It gives you lots of different profiles you can use to. You can also customize them and stuff. For this purpose, because it's like a shadow, I'm going to use this one. You'll see what it gives me is the ends of the line are very, very sharp. That kind of gives you a nice little shadow line. I like it. It's kind of one of those things. It's like a little finishing touch. Another thing I like to do is grab the full upper, and I like to paste it and pull it into the front. And then drop out the fill, and then beef up the line weight a little bit. To kind of like outline the profile of the shoe. It's kind of a nice little touch. And you kind of do some fun stuff like that. It kind of helps make it a little bit more dynamic. Same thing, you can do it for the midsole. Come in here and you can bring it to the top, take out the fill, and then bump it up. Get a little more dynamic. And if this thing bugs me right here, I'm just going to come in and I'm going to cut it, and then it'll go away. Little trick of the trade there. It's a little annoying, but comes to that. It just comes to that point. That's what it does. Perfect. Now let's do two more things. First thing being laces. Laces, I don't like to take a lot of time on. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off our shoe layer here. I'm going to check out our lace, and I might draw it on a different layer here. Laces, I am going to give almost no time to. And the reason why is because they're laces, man. Like, we can spend time to make them all nice and pretty, but I know people who have laces that they just like have kind of on lock. For example, like I'll come in here and just make this one, and they'll just do all this stuff. I just can't with it. Like, footwear design is tough as it is. And to think that we're going to be just out here taking time on the lace is kind of crazy to me. I have buddies in footwear who will just do the bare minimum. And so that's what I'm going to do here. It's because that's kind of the standard. I mean, you can take this now and kind of pull it around and do some stuff, make it look unique. You can make each lace loop look a little, different. And that's fine. But there is no rhyme or reason to, you want it to look like it's going into a hole, I guess that's kind of like the main principle, but no way am I taking like more than 2 minutes to get the laces looking like somewhat decent and then kind of put a bow on it and walk away. I don't know, like, it's just basic shapes. They don't need to be doing anything crazy. They don't need to be radius the whole bunch. Like, you've done all this work on the shoe. Don't put like years worth of time into the lace. Just get it looking good enough and then move on to the next thing. And if you want to like go crazy on them, I mean, what am I don't know. It's like my brother has a recipe for pancakes, and his recipe basically says, if you want to put X and Y in there, if you want to put cinnamon in it, go for it. But basically, yeah. So don't want to take a ton of time. Make them look bumpy, make them look like they have something to them, but yeah, you kind of want them a little uniform. You don't want some being bigger than the other, and then, that's it. We made all this pretty stuff. Let's enjoy what we got. So again, like, yeah, you look at that and that's good enough. And then I like to group them because they're like little bits. That way you can, in one swoop, just kind of say, I want them red, and they can be red. Okay, last thing. As you saw in this, all of this stitching, there's stitching everywhere, going up here. Stitching is a big deal. So let's just do a little bit. So if I take this and I offset, again, offsets everything. I just offset -1 mm, maybe 1.5. Check the preview. Looks good. You're going to cut here, 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 here. You're going to get rid of all the scrap. You're going to get rid of the fill. Okay, and then the tool that's most important here is you're going to come over here to this, and you're going to hit dash line. And you're going to go probably like 2 mm to mm, and then you've got some stitching. Offset again, path, offset path. Boom. Got some stitches. Then you can do the same thing to every single thing. Come here, clip what you need. Get rid of the rest. No fill layer on that because it is a stitch. Come up here again. Path, offset. And then you're going to clip, clip, clip. Now you have what you need. You hit the eyedropper tool, drop it, then just drag. You know, again, this stitching is a lot like laces. You want to have it because you want to show what's being stitched and what isn't, but you don't really need to like take all day. And while I'm at it, let me just put a little thing in there, and same with these guys because they have a shadow. Just put a little, yeah, that looks better. Sweet. Didn't cut this one yet, but I will. Just cut it, cut it. And you're gonna drag. There's always a little bit of fussing. Sometimes I'll just hit P, grab that point, go down. Same with this one, P. And then you get your little extra bit of stuff. Same with this guy. Cut it. Cut it. Looking pretty good. I think I've only got a couple more things to stitch down. Single stitch on this guy, double stitch on the next one. Not bad. Yeah. That's it. Boom. Cut. See it down there. Cut, cut, cut. You know, doing this all the time for a job, it's hard to like want to get together the effort to then teach it. I'll tell you that much. For this one, I might just, because it's so simple, I might just draw a line. Doesn't matter if it's like 100% following it. Get it close enough. Looks good. Eyedropper. You know, it's like, I don't know if I just get enough of it during the week. But I'm here for you all. I'm here to teach this. Get everyone somehow start to establish something real for footwear and tutorials. Clip, clip. I'm going to come in here, finish it to the edge. Oh, finish it to the edge. Maybe it's going to wrap a little bit. So I'm here, I'm over here, finish to the edge, finish to the edge. Boom. So, in about, an hour, 45 minutes, hour, somewhere in there, we've made a pretty decent line art of an Air Max 1. Oh, man. Double stitch the swoosh. Let's get it. Not leaving any stone unturned here. Okay, double stitch swoosh. Is that double stitch? Let's look. Oh, single. Didn't look right. There you go. So, 45 minutes. You got your Air Max 1. For fun. Just 'cause I want to see it. Yeah. Got your Air Max 1 line art. Looks pretty good. I mean, there's obviously details that we haven't put in for the sake of time, but there's logoing and stuff, and maybe some shadowing that I would do here. But that'll be for another Tech Vector Do tutorial. I'm going to start doing a couple 2-3 parters where we take some really complicated shoes and drop it in, and just say thank you for joining me on this tutorial. I hope you learned something. Remember, pen tool, get your radiuses tight, learning where to put those on corners and edges. Try and use as little points as possible. So when you do these offsets, you do these things where you're merging panels, that you're not having a million points to work with. It is by far the worst thing to have too many points and then you can't move and edit things as you want. Keep it light. And then using that shape builder, Shift M, to take panels and take your outline of your entire upper to make pieces out of them. So you can color, you can swap, you can material. All that stuff's going to come down the road as we take shoes and then we apply materials to them and try to get things looking more realistic in Illustrator. So I hope this beginner basic tutorial helps you kind of grasp pen tool, shape builder, coloring, layering, how we're trying to put the upper behind the tooling so it sits in, and then just don't take time on those laces. I think I hit that pretty hard. So don't take time on the laces. Just don't. It's the last thing. Same with the tongue, like what goes behind everything, and you don't need to do that. You're going to tech pack stuff out. People are going to know how the tongue's built. In a light art situation, the thing that matters is the color, and having, if you're having a finished edge or whatever, like the Air Max does, you want to have that in there too, because color colors all those pieces. But that's that. That's line art. That's basic tutorial on line art for footwear. I'm Jake Bergini. Like and subscribe to this page. Tech Packs are due on the serious footwear design page, where we're going to teach people how to have the skills of footwear designers. Okay. Look for a guest episode coming up as well. We are going to talk to a developer this time and see what she has to say about development and footwear working together. All right. Thanks for joining. Come back again next time.